Hi there, I'm Rhonda, and I help makers turn their digital designs into income. On my channel, you'll get quick tutorials, cool tools, and simple strategies to grow your digital product business. If you want daily AI prompts, trend tips, and a fun community that gets it, join us in our AI Profit Society. I left a link in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And now, without any further delay, let's get into today's video. It's Rhonda, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a multi-layer mock-up for something like a clip art bundle, or in this image here, a digital paper bundle for like junk journal pages, things like that. I had done the junk journal video the other day, and I had a lot of requests for uh, a tutorial showing how to make these multi-layer mock-up images for my designs. Okay, so we're going to do that today. Um, we're going to be using Photoshop to do it. Uh, Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll use Photopea since that's a free uh, program. That way, even if you don't have Photoshop, it's okay. You can still do this. If you do have Photoshop, all the instructions for Photopea will be the exact same, so you can easily do it in Photoshop as well. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a multi-layer mock-up that you can put more than one image on at a time. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is come over here to Canva so we can create our mock-up background. So I'm going to click on Custom Size, Create New. Now I like to make my mock-ups 3000 by 3000 pixels. If you want to do yours 2000 by 2000, you certainly can. This is just my preferred size. Just make sure they are square and at least 2000 pixels in size, okay? So I'm going to look, first of all, for a background, and I want a background that is eye-catching, but yet doesn't really take away from the uh, clip art images, okay? We want something that isn't going to steal the attention away from the images we're trying to showcase. So I'm just going to scroll through over here until I find this. Looks nice. I'm partial to like wood rustic background, so I think I'm going to use this one. It's a nice light color and it will not detract from my clip art images, okay? And then my next step is I'm going to make my little boxes. You see how this one has little boxes here? Clip art images show up in each one of these boxes. So I want to make things like that for this one. Now, before we start, MyDesigns has a limit of 6 smart object layers per image. Okay, so if you want to do clip art bundles, um, I would recommend doing 5 per mock-up. That way you can do, 5 images, 10 images, 15 images, and it all stays cohesive. Everything has the same number of images on each page instead of, like 6 on this one and 4 on the next one. That's just my personal preference. You do you and however you like to do it. I am doing mine in this video the way I would do it if I was making this for myself. So I am going to put 5 blocks on here so I can put 5 clip art images in it in my designs when I make the mock-up. So I just brought over a rounded square shape. I'm going to line that up on here, and I'm going to change the color of the background, and I'm going to make that a pretty light colored background. I think I'll go with this color. And then I'm going to give it a border. And I think for the border, I'm just going to go with a little bit darker color. I don't want it to be super dark. You see, let me zoom in here a little so you can see what I've done. You see, I just gave it a little darker border. It's nothing crazy. So once I have that looking the way I want, I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate it. I'm going to slide that over. And then I'm going to duplicate it once more. And now I need to put, I'm going to duplicate this one. And I'm going to bring that down here and put it center between these two. And then I'm going to duplicate that one again. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to line it up just like that. I'm going to zoom out. Okay, so you see I have my 5 image blocks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group these 3 together. And then I'm going to group these 2 together. And that's just so I can move them around and center them the way they should be. Okay, so now they're all centered. So I'm going to group them all together. So if I move them, I'm not moving one. I'm going to move all of them. Okay, so now what I want is I want to put some information on this image. Okay, and I think I'm going to move those there. And I'm going to grab a regular square box. I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to stretch it out so it covers my entire image. And I'm going to bring it down here to the bottom. Actually, I'm going to put it at the top. I'm going to move these more to the bottom. Put this up here. I'm going to make it a little bigger, not huge. But up in here is where I want the name of this bundle. Okay. So I'm going to change the color on this to something more brown, and then I'm going to reduce the transparency on that quite a bit. Okay, so you can see it, but you can still see the background through it, and that's what I want. And now I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to bring this down to the bottom. I'm going to make it a little smaller. I'm going to put that right there at the bottom. Let's move this up a little so I can make this just a little bigger. And this is all personal preference. You do yours how you want to do them, okay? This is just me. And down here in this little bar, I want to put some information. I want to add some text. Put that, and I'm going to move that way down here. And we're going to make this a lot smaller. Let's do 75. And let's change our font, Allegra SC, and not bolded. And right in here, I am going to put commercial use, 300 DPI, transparent PNG, and I'm going to put the size is 5,000 by 5,000 pixels. Okay, so they know now when they see this image on my Etsy shop that there's commercial use allowed. They're 300 DPI transparent PNG images, and they are all 5,000 by 5,000 pixels. Okay, so I want that information on every clip art bundle I create. So it's safe to add it to my mockup just the way this is. Okay, so now if I want to, I can add some elements to make the image a little more attractive. You don't want to go crazy because you don't want whatever you put in here, you don't want it to take away from your images. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that your images are still the main focus of any thing you put here. So I just might throw a little bit of greenery there and maybe some up here. But I don't want to do much. Like I said, I want the focus of this image to be my clip art files that are going to show up in these 5 windows. So this is really just a little bit if you want to. Don't go crazy with it, all right? If you go crazy with it, then people are going to pay more attention to your accents than they are your images. And that's not what you want to have happen. You want them to pay attention to your images. But I think that looks good, okay? That's not too much, but it gives a little bit of personality to the image itself, to the mockup. So once you have it looking the way you want, just come up here, click on Share, Download, and we can save this as a JPEG. Okay, it doesn't really matter because our mockup images are always, 72 DPI anyway. We don't need, 300 DPI for mockups. So I'm just going to click Download. And I'm going to save that and overwrite the one I was playing with a little earlier. And now we're going to open this in Photopea. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. This is the Photopea homepage. I'm going to click on File, Open, and we're going to click on this. And here is our JPEG now. Here is our image that we created. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create a placeholder. Placeholder that sits in this image until MyDesigns is ready to put our clip art in it. So we're going to go to File up here in the upper left, New, and we're just going to create a square image. So I'm going to just select this. It says YouTube profile 800 by 800, and the color can be really anything you want. Doesn't matter. So I'm just going to go with this blue, and we're going to click Create. So now we have this square image, and this is our placeholder. So what I'm going to do is hit Control A, Control C to copy it. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to paste it in. There it is. Now before we do anything, before you move it, before you resize it, anything, you're going to want to select the layer, right click, convert to Smart Object. Now you can move it where you want it. And I think 800 by 800, let's look here. Is that too big? Just a hair. Let's change this to, let's change this to 775 pixels, okay? And that's the size we want for each one of our blocks when we put it in. And that looks good there. Okay, so that one is now a smart object. It's been moved and resized to 770 pixels. So now we can paste again. No, that's, and before we do anything, we're going to select that new layer, right click, convert to smart object. And we're going to move that up into the box. And again, we're going to have to resize that, 770px. And now that matches exactly. Okay, it's the same size as the one in our first image. So we're going to just repeat this process for all 5. Okay, so there are our 5 image layers. Okay, so MyDesigns has very specific requirements for the names of your layers. So we are going to double click here and we're going to rename layer 1 to MD-image-design1. And layer 2 will be MD-image-design2. Now, the last name on here, the design 1, design 2, that can be anything you want, but it must always start with MD dash image dash and then the name you've chosen. But I'm just going to do designs 1 through 5 because that just makes it super easy. MD dash image dash design 4. And finally, MD image dash design 5. Okay? So those layers are done. Now, here's something I do. I add a folder. Going to name this image layers. And that's just for me because it just makes things easier. So I'm going to select all 5 of those and I'm going to drag them into that folder. So now I can collapse that and they're just out of the way. Okay? Now up here in this top part, this is where I want the name of my clip art bundle to go. So if I am making a bundle of 10 cartoon birds, like I did in yesterday or the day before's video, can't remember when I did it. I want this to say 10 cute cartoon birds. All right. So what I'm going to do in order to do that is I'm going to come over here on the left and I'm going to select the type tool for text. And we're going to select type tool. Now we're going to come up here into the middle of this bar that we've created and we're just going to start typing. Okay, and we're really not going to type anything in there. Let me find my font, Allegra SC, Allegra Sans SC. There we go. And make that smooth. And I want that, I am going to type a little bit just so I can adjust the size here. So I'm going to say clip art bundle title. All right, so I have that, and now I'm just gonna, I want to move it. I want to center it here. And I think I want that to be just a little bigger. It's about as big as my Photopea will let me make it on the slide, but I can manually enter the size in if you want to make it a little bigger. And you just want to center that. And you want to make it whatever color you want too. So if I want this to be something other than black, let me come in here and let's do like a dark green here. And let's make it more of a green. I think that blends well with the accents we put on here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now this is done, okay? So all we have to do now is come over here where it says text layer 8. We're going to double click on that and we're going to do MD text and then we can do dash and I'm going to put title. Okay. So that is our text layer and then our 5 image layers. So that is our 6 smart object layers. That's all we can do in here. That's all we can do that MyDesigns will recognize and replace. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to come up here to File, Save as PSD. I'm going to overwrite this one that I was working on earlier. And now this is ready to upload to MyDesigns. So let's go to MyDesigns and let's go to our dashboard so you can see where I'm going here. Over here on the left, let's reload now. They must be working on updates, okay? So over here on the left in your menu, it says Mockup Library. Click on that. In the upper right, Upload Mockup. And now we can drag and drop our mockup that we just created right in here, okay? So now it's going to upload, and now we're going to choose what is going on in here. The first thing it recognized, you see if I hover over it, is highlighting that title. And we're going to select that, and we're going to say use as text layer. And now, as we hover over these different layers that it's recognizing from our image, all we have to do is click and say use as image layer. Use as image layer, and just repeat that for all the layers that you are using as images. And then you have your background layer, which is a normal layer. Nothing is happening with it. So up here, you can rename this, and you can decide what category it goes into. So I'm going to choose digital, and I'm going to click Save Mockup. And it will save that to your custom mockup folder. Let me find digital here. And it is right there, ready for us to use. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here on the left again. I'm going to go to Collections, and I'm going to go to Clip Art Bundles, and I'm going to open that folder. Now here are the birds that I created the other day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete some of these files. I'm going to delete uh, these mockups just so we can play with mockups again. We're going to delete those. All right, and we're going to come up here to Quick Actions, Image Mockups, and I'm going to show you how this new mockup works. I'm going to come in here to Digital. Wait a minute. We gave this top part, we said that was a text layer that MyDesigns is going to read, but we have to assign where it's going to read from. And I always use my keyword folders here, or my keyword options. So under either primary keyword or secondary keyword, it does not matter. I'm going to do 10 cute birds clip art bundle. All right. That's the name of my file or my bundle. And this is where that text layer is going to read from, my primary keyword. So make sure you fill that in with what you want your mockup to say if you're using text layers. They are not mandatory. I just like to use them. So we're going to go back to listing. Now we'll go to Image Mockups, Custom. Digital is where we uploaded that to. So we're going to come down here and grab it. And now you see we can choose which image shows up on these. And now it says custom group label. That's our text. So we're going to come down here and select primary keyword. Alrighty. And let's put that in the mockup file slot, and let's generate a preview. Make sure it's going to look the way we expect it to. All right, and there it is. And now I'm not real happy with the alignment of this 10 cute birds clip art bundle, but that's something I will fix. I just probably need to move it over a little rather than center it like I did, okay? So that's what it looks like, and I'm just going to generate the mock-up so you can see it. And now you can go back in and generate it again with your next 5 images, or you could upload another copy of that same mockup, give it a different name, and then you could do multi mockups and do them all at once. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's open the file so you can see this mock-up. So this is what it looks like. I have 5 of my images right there. We have the commercial use 300 DPI transparent PNG down here at the bottom. And we have that title we put into our keyword 1 slot that it will auto-populate this for us. Like I said, I need to align that a little better, but that's something, you can play around with when you're making your own, if you even want to use that feature. The text layers are totally optional, so you don't have to if you don't want to. Um, I think it just saves me a step because now I don't have to edit anything to uh, give the name of the bundle. I can just put it right on here and it will, populate for me each and every time. Easy peasy. So it's totally up to you, like I said, whether you use it or not. I like to do it, but you don't have to. And now to get the second set, you would go back into Image Mockups. We would select the same bundle, the same mockup, and this time instead of 1 through 5, we would select images 6 through 10. And we would do the same thing here, primary keyword, and we would generate the mockup for this one. And then you would have 2 mockups that show all 10 of your clip art images individually. Like I said, if you want to save time, you can upload this mockup and give it a different name so that you have 2 copies of it. So you could run all of your mockups at one time in, a bulk fashion. You could do multi-mockup and run them all. And then let's look at this one quick. And here's the second one with the next 5 birds on it. Okay, so that is how you make a multi-layer mockup for MyDesigns. It's really super simple. And if you don't use MyDesigns, that's okay too. You can use this mockup all. So if you don't use MyDesigns, you can still use these PSD mockups either in Photoshop or in Photopea here. In order to use them, all you do is double click on the image, okay, the image layer, and turn that off, and then drag your image in, Control S to save it, and then you come back over here, and there it is in your first slot. And then you would do the same thing for the next design. You would double click on that, turn off that placeholder image, drag in your clip art, Control S, and there it is. So you could just do this in Photoshop or in Photopea. Even if you don't use MyDesigns, it's still wonderful mock-up that you can use for multi-layer or multi-image bundles where you want to show more than one image at a time. Let me just zoom in. Oops. Let me zoom in here for you so you can see that. And, that's what it would look like. And you just double click on your smart object layers, add your artwork, and you're good to go. So I hope this helped. I hope it wasn't too confusing. It's really just a lot of repeating the same process over and over again. If you do have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'll answer them as soon as I can. And if you have ideas for other videos, please let me know that too. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.